Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, we have a very special guest. She is a 14-time Olympic medalist. She's a 20-time long course world championship medalist, 20-time Commonwealth Games medalist. She's had more 7-medal meets internationally than I think most people have international meets in their entire career. And she's also officially now a swimmer. She retired after the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. Today, we're sitting down with Emma McKeon. Emma, thanks so much for joining us. Third time's the charm. How's it going?
Third time's the charm. Yeah, it's good.
This episode of the SwimSwam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com.
I've never heard Swammer before. I actually like that. Swammer.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you since your last swim meet, but also you have posted about your post swimming career and just what life has been like in retirement on your social media. It looks awesome. You've gotten to do so many cool things. You've been to so many unique and special events. So honestly, I'm just excited to hear about that. But for you, how has it been stepping away from the pool? I know it's been almost a year at this point, but what has not being a swimmer been like so far for you?
It's been pretty great, to be honest. I can't believe it's been almost a year. Yeah, the time's just flown by so quickly. But overall, I've really enjoyed it, loved being in retirement. There's obviously always going to be aspects that I really, really miss. And I think especially once Worlds comes around, I'll be watching that and you remember like the adrenaline and the excitement, and I think just like the pushing towards trying to get the most out of yourself in a race. I think that is the side of things that I'll really miss. But overall, I don't really miss the lifestyle of an athlete, the unrelenting, lifestyle and everything mattering towards that goal and things like that. Obviously, loved that when I was doing it, but I was definitely ready to retire, and it's been awesome. I've been able to enjoy all the other parts of my life that you kind of have to put to the side when you are swimming, and seeing my family and friends more and being able to travel and things like that I'm really loving and enjoying, and being able to say yes to things without having to think about my swimming schedule has been really nice. But it's obviously had its ups and downs as well. You're pushing towards that one overarching goal for your whole life. So not having that anymore, that's change in itself. And I think, us as humans, we love consistency. So I think change is unsettling in any way. So that's been an adjustment. But overall, I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah. How do you feel like you've managed the adjustment? And again, as you said, I'm guessing a lot of athletes, certainly swimmers, struggle with this. Anyone who goes through a big, phase of life, or one phase ends, then the other begins. Just how are you dealing with not having that level of consistency and knowing what you're going to do next, or knowing what you're chasing? Do you have new goals now?
Yeah, I haven't set any new goals yet, which that's probably part of the challenge. But I also think that with swimming, like my goals were so big and also so far down the track, like with an Olympic cycle, it's 4 years, or
Yeah.
even when I was younger, it's like, like I knew I was going to swim for another 4, 8, 12 years. So like there's those goals that are so far down the track. And so you've got that big overarching thing that you're pushing for every day, every year type thing. So I don't have that, and I potentially won't have that kind of big goal like that again. So that is a big adjustment. I think the hardest thing is probably everyone else always asking, so what now? What are you going to do now? Like that would be a daily question for me. And sometimes you get the people that are trying to give their advice on what you should do next. I've gotten used to that now, but that's probably the hardest thing, to be honest. I think, yeah, sometimes people don't realize that it's okay to have the time to not know what you're doing next, because you have been doing, the same one big thing for my whole life, really. Since I was, 15, I've been training and having that kind of high elite lifestyle. So yeah, but yeah, it's been an adjustment. It's
Well,
okay not to know for a bit, I think.
that's great to hear, and also sorry for adding to that pile of
No.
people demanding answers. We want to know.
I'm pretty comfortable to say that I don't know yet, because I know it's okay not to know.
Yeah. And that's really nice. And it's nice to hear that you have that level of comfort with the unknown. I think that makes a lot of people really uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And also, I think I'm really comfortable to say I don't know, but still in me, I would, it's just unsettling not, waking up every day and working towards that big goal that you've got. So that's a really different experience and way of life for me. So that's an adjustment, but I do know it's okay to, chill for a bit.
Yeah. And again, I'm excited to talk to you about how you've been using that chill time, but I do want to start by going back a bit and just, I'm wondering when you did know that Paris would be your last competition. Was it after the games? Was it well before the games? When did you know, okay, I'm ready to be done with swimming?
It was before the games. I wasn't sure if it was done completely with swimming, but I knew another 4 years I didn't have in
Mhm.
me. So I knew that would be my last Olympics. I think, yeah, I just felt deep down I was ready to stop. I was ready to not have that unrelenting lifestyle of an athlete, to be honest. I'm the type of person that's 100% all in, and I won't half do anything. And so, and I knew that if I kept going, I couldn't do it like that. Yeah, so I was just excited to kind of have life without that, and just explore what's next. And I kind of also thought to myself that if I do keep going, when is it going to be enough for me? I had to learn to be proud of what I'd done and satisfied and content with what I'd had done. Because, when I look back to when I was 15, it's a huge, like, it would blow that person away, what I would go on to do. So I had to learn to be proud of that. And yeah, if I kept going, it would almost be like, when is it going to be enough for you?
Mm.
So yeah, I had to be proud of what I'd done, and I finally came to that realization that I was, and it was really when I looked back at the 15-year-old version of me and going through all the ups and downs of swimming when you're a teenager and whether I wanted to do it or not, and dealing with all the pressure I'd put on myself and not enjoying it and quitting and all of that, but still having the huge goal and wanting to do it. When I look back at her and see what I have done and gone on to, even without even taking away the results, just all the things I've learned physically and mentally and emotionally and things I've gone through and things like that. Like she'd be really proud, and yeah, so that makes me proud, and yeah, made me realize that I can. That's enough.
Yeah. Had you put a lot of thought into that decision, or just that, oh, will I, won't I continue, prior to Paris? Is that something you had like really intentionally sat down and thought about, or did that come as more of a natural realization as you got closer to the competition?
I didn't really think about it a lot, to be honest, before. I just thought I won't be doing another whole Olympic cycle.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it, because all my energy and thought and everything needed to go towards my training and what I was doing. And whether I was going to keep swimming or not after the Olympics really didn't matter in that preparation.
Mhm.
Like I could not swim again, or I could take a break and come back. It really didn't matter in that time. So I didn't really have to think about it much beforehand. And it was those kinds of thoughts was after Paris. And it's always hard after an Olympics though, because you've just been to the Olympics, and whether you've done well or not, you kind of think, oh, like I need to go again. So you can't really make the decision straight after. It takes time. But yeah, after I'd realized all of that, I knew it was time and felt really comfortable and really happy with the decision.
Yeah, spoken like someone who's been to a couple Olympics, right? And like you have to take time, because yeah, as I can imagine, an Olympics is such a unique experience, and I'm sure
Yeah.
such a high. Um, and on that note, how did you feel about your experience in Paris, especially being very far removed from it at this point, and now knowing it was your last competition as a swimmer?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't happy with it wasn't how I wanted to finish my swimming career. It wasn't how yeah, on paper, I wasn't happy with the results. It wasn't what I envisioned or what I believed I was capable of, that's for sure. And especially after Tokyo, I really believed, and that's part of why I kept going as well. I really believed I had more to give and had more that I could do. So it definitely wasn't how I wanted to finish my swimming career. But if I step back and look at the whole picture, I can now not be so hard on myself about it, because I can look at the whole picture of everything that I kind of went through after Tokyo, and yeah, and like injury and things like that. And I think I was able to use, in Paris, I was able to use everything I'd learned across my whole career to kind of get myself through that and step up and absolutely give my everything. And to the best of my ability, try and push away the mental side of things with feeling like I hadn't done what I needed to do in terms of training to get the most out of myself because of injury. I was able to kind of, as much as I could, push that aside. And yeah, I guess I'm proud of the fact that I did put myself out there and give absolutely everything. So obviously I wish that the results were different and things like that, but no career is, you know, absolutely perfect the whole way through. And if mine finished off not how I wanted, there were so many other parts of it that were surpassed what I wanted.
Yeah, I it's it's overwhelming almost to look at the results you've produced throughout your career, because they are so staggering. But again, it's very cool to hear you talk about and reflect on. You could even push those aside, and my 15-year-old self, I think, would look back on this and think, wow, this has been such a great ride. This has been such a great experience. And it is so rare, I think, in sports to go out on not only your terms, but the way you would want to end something that, again, you've put so much work into. Um, when did your injuries occur in the lead up or between Tokyo and Paris?
I always had like niggling shoulder
Mm.
injuries, and leading into Tokyo, I had them as well. But between Tokyo and Paris, that's when it really started to be pretty consistent. And then between probably 2023, 2024, that's when it really, because I came back into swimming in 2022, just about 3 months before the Commonwealth Games.
Mhm.
And so I kind of like didn't really put a lot of pressure on myself for that one, and just wanted to see what I could get out of myself. And I mean, I feel like I raced really well after just 3 months of training there. So that's when I was really like, okay, I can really keep progressing here. Um, but then, yeah, 2023, 2024, the shoulder was pretty unrelenting. And then I actually got back to a really good level in early 2024 in my training. And I felt like I was really, I felt really confident, really moving forward. And everything was going really well. And then, yeah, then it kind of just became non-stop. And it was just basically nursing the shoulder and trying to get as much out of my legs as I could. When I couldn't swim, I'd be kicking and doing a lot of spin bike. And, sometimes I'd do the whole session of what the other guys were doing, but doing it kick. And so my legs were just buggered all the time. But yeah, got pretty good at kicking. And I also would think, well, in the back end of my race, that's when, my legs are the ones that are tiring the most. And so this is going to pay off. And so that was kind of my mentality around it. I knew that, and my coach would always say, when one door closes, another opens, and I had the opportunity to really get the most out of my legs. And so, I was always doing something anything I could that was going to help me, and working with a psychologist and everything. I was doing everything I could.
Yeah, that's a lot. To give some context, again, you said you came back, you took some time off Tokyo, you came back 3 months, raced at Commonwealth Games. You won 8 medals at that meet, 6 gold, a silver, and a bronze. If anyone was not aware, who's listening now, so pretty good results for 3 months of training, I would say. But
Thank you.
yeah. But that sounds really hard to deal with, again, psychologically, right? Just mentally knowing that your body is not at its best, but still able to perform on an Olympic stage. I mean, again, you walked away with Paris with 3 medals, a gold, silver, and a bronze. Um, did Are there moments in Paris that stand out to you, even though it might not have been the performance you want? Um, do you have highlights of the experience as a whole for you?
Yeah, I mean, the experience was incredible. I think like Paris is one of my most favorite cities. And so to be able to compete in the Olympics in that city is such a cool experience. I feel like they put on an amazing Olympics, and I feel like I got a really good like run of Olympics across my career, having Rio, Tokyo, and Paris. Like they're pretty iconic cities. So yeah, that's a really cool thing. And then having my family there. Obviously, they weren't there in Tokyo, so
Yeah.
I had a huge amount of my family there in the stands, and soaking up all the Olympics and everything like that, and having them there supporting me. And like they knew what the last kind of like 12, 18 months had been like for me. But they were just, stoked to be there and watch me do what I love and do what I'd worked hard for. And, they've been the biggest supporters for me through the ups and the downs, and out of swimming, in swimming. So just to share that with them was really special. And obviously knowing it was my last Olympics as well, be able to share that with them, something I'll remember forever. And, I made sure that I wanted to make sure that I would see them after my races. So I saw them after my 100 butterfly final, because I had a few days off after that. So just to be able to share things like that with them was really special. And My first 2 days of competition was super busy because I had the 100 fly, heat and semi on day one, and the 4x1 free. And I did the 4x1 free heat. So that was actually my first time, or one of my first times doing a heat in a relay because, usually my program's so big, and then I'll be I guess a secure spot on that relay team because of what my results have been in the year and things like that. But I can't remember if it was fifth or sixth at the trials. So I didn't have that heat swim, that final swim spot. And so I swam the heat, and so that was a huge day. So I actually had 4 races on that day, and then the final again the next night. And so swimming in that heat and you're racing for that spot in the final, and obviously our 100 freestyle depth is crazy. So, that was like, I really, really, really wanted to be part of that final team. And so, all of my, I was just, I guess I had to make sure. And, you don't know what the other girls are going to do, but you're also going out there as a team as well. So it's like, and they're some of my closest friends as well. I was going out there with Bronte Campbell, who I've grown up with racing, and we've become really great friends. And so it's I think, and it's probably the type of person I am, but I'm really able to split those two things. Like, you're going out there as a team and you're going to do this together, but you also want to get onto that final spot as well. So I think I'm pretty good at like splitting, the emotional side and just getting in there and getting the most out of yourself. And so it was a really, it's something I'll remember forever, even being a part of that heat team and going out there together and kind of having that experience.
Yeah, just the history that the Australian women have in that event is pretty much second to none at this point. You all have set multiple world records in it. You've you've displayed a level of dominance that I don't think many other teams have in a relay. And in that heat swim, you anchored that heats relay in 51.9, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Definitely earned your final spot, I'd say.
Yeah, had to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and then again, you went on to swim in the finals and be part of that gold medal winning team that set an Olympic record.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
even that, like, when I look back on that, like, even 2-3 weeks before that, I did not think that I would even be able to be up on the blocks in that heat. Because when we got to our staging camp, my shoulder was in so much pain I couldn't swim. And I was just on the spin bike every session, watching everyone else train, and obviously knowing I need to be in there and I want to be in there, pushing myself in the pool. That's where I need to be. But I was on the spin bike just, for an hour and a half, trying to keep my legs fit, or trying to just do what I can up in the gym, doing shoulder rehab or just strength stuff and things like that. And then when I eventually did get back in the pool, felt obviously awful. And I said to my partner that by the time we move on to the next part of our staging camp, if I'm not at a better level than this, like, I'm not going to the Olympics. Like, there's no way I can race. I'm not going to put myself in that relay team, especially. And yeah, I can't. So then when I was standing on the podium on that night one as part of that relay team, and also after I'd done that heat swim of the 51.9, I just was so proud of myself that I'd kind of mentally gotten through that and just kept turning up each day, just seeing what I can do. And then eventually it's amazing what can happen in 2 or 3 weeks' time, and kind of like kept myself together and then was part of that team.
My God. This is insane. Well, I mean, now I just kind of have to wonder, so your shoulder, obviously, you were in a bit of a better place when you moved to stage in camp, or you moved to the next stage of camp. I mean, how how were you keeping it together, right? I mean, obviously you almost pulled yourself out, but even when you were still there, I mean, I'm guessing your teammates and coaches, and as you said, your partner were big supports in that
Yeah,
in
huge
that
support.
time.
Yeah. And it was a balance between them not asking me too much,
Mm.
letting me vent to them, and then also just like, giving me the word of encouragement, and then it's distraction and, talking about other things. My partner was on holiday, so, hearing about all the adventures he was having, and then my family coming over, and yeah, just distraction. And it was hard mentally because obviously I'm not doing what I know I need to do, and I get all of my confidence from my training.
Yeah.
So I found that really hard. And then it was also had that part of like that uncomfortable feeling and kind of a bit of, I don't want to say embarrassment, but that's the only word I can think of, is like when you're at the pool and everyone else is in there working hard and training, and you're training for the Olympics. It was pretty uncomfortable not, turning up and then not being able to do that at the staging camp. I found that really uncomfortable. But yeah, just each day, just doing what I could, the absolute most of what I could do. And I had such a great team around me there, like the physios, strength coaches, doctors, everything, like brainstorming and thinking of how can we get the most out of this day,
Mm.
and things like that. Yeah, I had the most incredible team. Yeah, definitely wouldn't have gotten to where I was without them there.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. And it's even more amazing now that you did get to where you ended up, um, in Paris. Because wow. Also, how were your legs not just dead
They
from all
were.
the biking?
I'd lay in bed at the end of the day and just actually be in pain.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Geez. So how are your shoulders now?
Well, I'm not really doing anything with them now. I did. I went for a swim actually. Was it 2 days ago? Because my brother, he still swims 3 times a week,
Okay.
for exercise, and he loves swimming. And with one of our good friends, Jared Port, as well, they still swim 3 times a week. And so I joined them the other morning just for a 2K.
Mm.
Love it with the fins on. As soon as I take the fins off, it does not feel good anymore. Just get tired so quickly.
I hear you. Yeah. I'm the same way. I swim 3
Yeah,
times a week, 2K, gotta have fins.
yeah,
But I was curious because I feel like you do have this spectrum of swammers, right? That some of them are like, "Oh, I swim every day. You gotta.
mm,
I love it. I'll do 3K or 5K, whatever." And then you have others who are like, "I did this. I never need to touch water again. I'm
yeah.
I'm done." So was that the first time you had swam in quite a while?
I joined them once before earlier in January, but other
Okay.
than that, that's been it. And to like, especially people outside of swimming, they are just like so confused that I've not swum again since Paris. Yeah, some people are the type that want to get back in and still swimming as much as they can, and other people, yeah, just never want to touch the water again. I think I'll be probably more towards never touching the water again, but I'll still swim a little bit, I think, just randomly whenever. But I don't think it'll be above 2K ever.
Yeah, fair enough. Who can blame you at this point? Um, so wow, I'm I'm still processing this whole Paris lead up. It's pretty wild to me, and wild that you got through that. But again, now you're in retired life. You've gotten to experience some pretty cool things, travel a lot. Where's where has what's been your favorite trip that you've taken so far in retirement? I know you've been to LA, been to New Zealand. I know there's other places.
Yeah, I went back to Paris actually.
Okay.
So I was back from Paris Olympics, and then I was an ambassador for Dior
Mhm.
for the Paris Olympics, and I landed back in Australia, and then they'd asked me, "Do you want to come to Fashion Week back over in Paris in like, I think it was in 3 weeks' time?" And I was like, "Absolutely!" So that was a very cool trip, and going. I didn't see a lot of Paris when I was there for the Olympics, and so being back in Paris so soon. I think it was a week or two actually after the Paralympics had been. So
Mm.
everything was still pretty set up. They were kind of packing things down. The rings were still up on the Eiffel Tower. And so it was pretty surreal being back there, and for a totally different reason as well. Yeah, I loved that trip. That was really special and unique, and I'd never done anything like that before, so that was really cool. And then also had a really great holiday in October last year, which was like something that we'd planned months and months before, and something that we had to look forward to while we were still training. And we went to Italy, Switzerland, and London, and across about 3.5 weeks. So that was a really, really great trip, and seeing parts of the world we'd never seen before, and being able to travel without without our swimming gear as well was really something I'd not really done a lot of before. So yeah.
Uh, Fins are great. They are not great in suitcases.
No.
So it is nice when you can leave them at home for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I went to Switzerland a couple summers ago. Where did you go?
We went to Zermatt and Lauterbrunnen,
Mm,
which is like
mhm.
a valley with the waterfalls on the rocks, and absolutely beautiful. It's like exactly what you think of when you think of Switzerland. It was, yeah, stunning.
Yeah, we went to Lauterbrunnen as well with all the cows with the bells.
Yes, with the bells. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was extremely picturesque, right? Just super
Yeah.
green, very mountainous.
Yeah.
Um, Absolutely. No, that sounds like a lot of great travel. You mentioned you were an ambassador for Dior. It seems like you've gotten to do quite a few cool events or just things with them. What has being an ambassador for a brand like that we don't typically see a lot of in swimming, but is certainly a global brand. What
Mm.
has that partnership been like for you?
Yeah, it's been incredible. It's been kind of like a pinch me moment, I think. And as you said, like to have that crossover, we don't get that a lot in sport. And I think that was really special, having that, high level elite sport crossover with that high level fashion was a really cool thing to see. And, they've been amazing to work with, such an incredible group of people. And yeah, it's been such a incredible, amazing experience.
Yeah. What do you have any plans with them for future endeavors, or just what has working with them entailed so far?
It's so we went to, yeah, Paris Fashion Week.
Mhm.
We've done a few shoots and interviews and things like that, and I went down to Melbourne earlier this year for International Women's Day, and we did an in-store little get together and a bit of a Q&A and things like that about my journey and working with Dior and things like that. So yeah, it's been a lot of really, really awesome experiences, and I love, especially with girls and women. Love the chance to be able to share my story, and in that kind of setting was really special.
Absolutely. Uh, you got to do a shoot with a magazine called Harper's Bazaar, and it featured some really cool Dior pieces. And
Yeah,
it's a tagged post on your Instagram. So if you haven't seen these pictures and you're listening, go check them out. I mean, that was phenomenal. Just the how the pictures came out, the landscape, and then obviously the pieces that you were in and you got to
yeah,
model.
beautiful, beautiful clothes.
Can you
Yeah.
just tell me a little bit about that shoot and what inspired it and how it all came together?
Yeah, so that was a week or two after I got back from the Olympics. And it was actually in or close to where I grew up. So in Gerringong, and I grew up about half an hour further north in Wollongong. And so just on the ocean side, like cliffside, such a beautiful part of the world. So that was really special doing it there. And then, yeah, as you said, we're having the chance to wear these beautiful pieces was, yeah, a really special and unique experience. And yeah, it was nice to do that. Coming back from the Olympics, usually you're just getting photographed in your swimwear. So it was really nice to have that kind of change. And yeah, as I said, do it in the area that I grew up in was really special.
Uh, and just speaking on fashion and getting to wear cool things. You went to Paris Fashion Week with Dior. Um, were there highlights from that, or just did anything about that experience surprise you? Had you been to events like that before? Because I certainly don't really know what that event is all about.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I'd never been to anything like that before. The one thing that I really found cool was they had a really big sporting element to the Dior show. So an archer came out first, and
Okay.
she actually opened the show. And they opened it. There was like two glass walls down the middle of the runway, and they opened the gates to these two glass walls. She went in, and then they closed the gates, and then she went through her whole like pre like your pre-race routine where she's breathing and doing all her things, and then she lifts her bow and then shoots the arrow, and pretty much gets it straight and all the way down. I don't even know how far to the other end of the runway, and pretty much gets it right in the center, and then that opens the show, and then all the models started coming out, and she throughout the whole show is doing that routine and shooting another bow and then going
Mm,
down and collecting it and coming back. And so there was that real sporting element to the show, which I found really cool.
yeah. I I'd never been to a fashion show, period, and my my roommate, we live in New York, and she was in one the other day, and there was like a band, and then they had dancers who were dancing to the songs that this band was playing while in the pieces of the designers. Um, so that was a very unique experience for me, and I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know fashion shows could be like this. I thought
Yeah, the
people just like
actual shows.
walked back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Um,
a lot more to it than you realize. It really is like a show or a concert.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So very cool to hear that, yeah, Dior was incorporating not only fashion and I'm sure, yeah, elements of music and movement, but sport as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it had that really like that strong, fierce woman
Mhm.
in the middle, as the center of the show. So that was a really cool part as well.
Mm. That's yeah, that's that sounds pretty incredible. But wow, so yeah, it seems like you've done a lot. Yeah, I know you just got back from LA. Just curious if, right now, do you have anything that excites you moving forward? That any projects you're working on or even just dipping your toes in proverbially?
I'm kind of like working through that now.
Mhm.
It's been awesome being able to do all of these things, and I still want to continue being able to travel and kind of just say yes to things whenever, especially things with my family and friends as well. So definitely want to continue doing that. But then you kind of get to a point where, well, for me, I want to be working on something each day as well. So I'm kind of just going through that process now and trying to figure out what that's going to be.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I can imagine that at some point you're like, I need this guiding light, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you do need that.
Yeah. Um, well, a few more swim related questions before we sign off. I'm guessing, do you think you'll go to the LA Olympics?
I hope so. Yeah, I'd love to be able to be there.
Stroke 50s, 50 butterfly is now an Olympic event. Uh, did you have a reaction to that? And I don't know, 2032 in Brisbane, it's not that far off,
It's not, but I won't be doing it. 50 fly was never, I wasn't very good at the 50 fly. It was one of my early events that I loved.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was never that great at it. I'd pretty much go out in my 50 fly PB in my 100, and it'd be, a million times easier than doing my 50 fly. So I don't know, I could never really master the 50 butterfly. But
Mhm.
I mean, to be honest, when it first was announced that they had the 50 strokes in the Olympics, I wasn't for it. I was kind of like, the 50 freestyle is where you see, it's like that's the 50 event, and that's where you see who's the fastest, literally the fastest person in the pool.
Mhm.
Um, and everything else is like a little bonus. But, and maybe that's just because of what the history of the Olympic events that I had in my mind. But like after more thought like, and if the spectators love it, and if it's something that's going to push the sport forwards and bring more fans and keep athletes swimming for longer, and more engaged, and the athletes more engaged for longer as well, then I'm absolutely all for it. I think anything that makes the sport better, I'm for.
Yeah, I think it was there were a lot of people that were like, yes. There were some people that were like, no. But I think there's a lot of things in both categories, right? Or reasons why maybe it was positive, or maybe why it wasn't as positive. But I think you can really go either way on that, and
Mm,
I think it's certainly exciting to see. Now you've already kind of seen trickle down effects of people putting more emphasis in those events, and yeah, I don't know, I think we'll certainly see those events move forward, which is cool.
yeah, yeah.
um I also feel like you're being a little modest. You were the 2022 Commonwealth Games champion in the 50 fly. So you figured it out at least one time.
Yeah, it was a bit of a hit and miss event for me, I think.
Fair enough. With Australian, obviously now you're a fan of swimming. You're a swammer. You're in the stands. Do you think you'll ever do any sort of commentating? Is that something that would interest you?
I mean, I've never tried it. I don't think I'd commentate a race
Mhm.
in the moment. But yeah, I'd like to be involved in some kind of way like that. But maybe post race, not in the middle of a race. I'd be too like, I just want to watch it, I think.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's a lot of work to just
Mm,
keep talking and talking,
yeah,
and again, to say what you're seeing in real
yeah,
time.
yeah, it is. It's definitely a art. And you have to do a lot of research and know all the facts off the top of your head just to have ready to go. So it's a lot of hard work.
Absolutely. But speaking of watching, Australian trials for world championships are coming up. Is that a competition you'll be watching?
Yeah, I think I'll be watching. Definitely keeping an eye on it. See how they're all going. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially the year after the Olympics is always interesting to see how people go. But yeah, I'll be watching.
We're always just curious at how Australia swims so fast because I think there it's like the population the size of Texas or something. Uh, it- and obviously, I don't think you have all the answers, but from now that you're a little removed from swimming Australia and you can reflect, just what made it so special, and how do you feel like they have been able to grow this culture of swimming greatness and swimming dominance in so many events, as we've kind of talked about earlier.
Uh, I think it's, I think partly it's because of the high standard that if you want to be a part of the swim team or the relay team or have that spot, the standard is really high. So you have to, if you want to be part of it, you have to chase it. And it kind of obviously shows what's possible. And so you just keep chasing that. And I mean, that 100 freestyle on the women's side, for instance, like that level is so high and the bar just keeps rising and rising. And so if you want to be part of it, you have to go with it and you have to chase it. And so you've always got that in the back of your mind also when you're training. And I think, yeah, that 100 free is, I mean, potentially one of the most competitive events on the program, probably the most competitive in Australia, that women's 100 free. And then the 100 free in general, probably across the world, is one of the most competitive, I think. So yeah, that standard just keeps rising, and if you want to be part of that relay team, yeah, that's what you have to do. And so you're chasing that bar. But I think also maybe the fact that because it is a smaller country, we're all on the coast, and you're often training with other, like if you want to, you're often training with other great swimmers as well. So you're being pushed every day. And the training programs, I guess, are quite, centralized. So you've got a lot of good swimmers in one squad. So having that environment really lifts you and pushes you.
I definitely appreciate that insight. And now the US will use this information to make our squad the best that we can. Well, Emma, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and catch up. Congrats on a great career, and I'm happy that retirement is so relaxing for you so far.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great chat.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.